Welcome back, students. In continuation with the online class series of class 12 biology, chapter number 2, that is sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. As we are talking about the metasporogenesis and the microsporogenesis, we have already talked about the formation of the pollen grains and the structure of the pollen grains. Now we are going to talk about the megaspores or the megasporangium, the structure of the megasporangium, and megasporogenesis, that is the formation of the female gametophyte or the female gamete. Now when we are talking about this, first we should understand what is the structure of the female reproductive organ in the flower. Already we have talked about it, but again we are just going to revise it thoroughly. When we are talking about the female reproductive structure, it represents the carpel or the pistil. Basically, the layer or the whorl of the flower which represents the female reproductive part is known as the gynoecium, and its individual member is known as the carpel or the pistil. So, carpel or the pistil is the female reproductive part representing the female reproductive organ. So, this is the stigma, this is the style, this is the ovary. In those flowers which contain a single carpel, that is only a single carpel or only a single pistil is present, such type of the flowers are known as monocarpellary. Mono means one or single. Carpellary comes from the word carpel. That means these are those flowers which contain only a single carpel. And if more than two carpels are present, then it is said to be multicarpellary. Again, it is divided by two words. Multi means many. And again, carpellary word comes from the carpels. That is, these flowers, they are made up of a number of carpels. In case of multicarpellary flowers, it may be the condition that all these carpels may be fused with one another. When more than one carpel is present, then the condition may be that either they may be fused with one another, then such condition is known as syncarpus. Syncarpus means fused, that is the carpels are fused. The other condition may be that the carpels, they are not fused but they are independent of one another. Such condition is known as apocarpus. That is, they are not fused, carpels are not fused. So, when we are looking up over here, now we are going to study each and every structure in detail. That is, the upper portion of the carpel is known as the stigma. This stigma is a disc-like structure which holds up the pollen grains on it. Besides that, it is having a large number of modifications on it, since it is the place or it is the site which has to receive the pollen grains, so that the further act of fertilization can take place. So it is a very important structure, or it is a very important part of the carpels. So stigma, as I said, it is having a large number of modifications. That is, either it is covered with a gelatinous coating, or it might possess spine-like structures or hook-like structures or bristle-like structures, so that it can very easily hold up the pollen grains on it as soon as they are shed up on the stigma for a longer period of time. This is the first function of the stigma. Another function of the stigma is that this stigma, it contains a large number of the chemicals present which interacts with the chemicals of the pollen grains, leading to the pollen pistil interaction, which leads to the identification of the pollen grains, that whether the pollen grains are of the same species or not. If the pollen grains are not of the same species, then further act of fertilization doesn't occur. But if the pollen grains are of the same species, then the further act or further events of fertilization proceeds on. The second portion of the carpel is known as a style. the style is a long, slender, neck-like portion, which is very very important as it allows the pollen tube from the pollen grain to proceed from it, and it guides the pathway towards the towards the egg cell. Now the basal portion, which is basically swollen in nature, is known as ovary. It is swollen because it inhabits the ovule within it. The ovule, which is the basic reproductive structure where the actual act of fertilization is going to occur, is present within this ovary, and hence it gives it a basal swollen appearance. So this is all about the structure of a carpel and about the terminologies that are associated with the carpels. Now we are going to talk about the structure of the ovule. Now, as I said you all that the ovary is a place where the ovules are present, and it is having a certain region which is known as the locule. In the locules are present the ovules which are hanging with the help of the placenta. It might contain single ovule or it might contain a number of ovules. So now talking about the ovule. This is the funicle, this is the hilum, outer integument, this is the inner integument, this is the micropyle and oblique pole. This is the charazal and oblique pole. Now this is the nucellus. This is the embryo sac. So this is the structure of an anatropous ovule, which is located within the ovary itself. As I talked about to you that it is present within the locule, or the locule is also known as the ovarian cavity, within which lies a large number of the ovules or a single ovule depending upon the species of the plants. So as I told you all that these ovules remain attached within the ovary with the help of a stalk-like structure, with the help of the placenta, and to the placenta these ovules are attached with the help of a stalk-like structure which is known as the funicle. Funicle may be defined as a stalk-like structure which helps the ovule to remain associated with the placenta. Now the region where the funicle fuses up with the rest part of the ovule is known as the hilum. That is, the hilum is that region which brings in continuation of the region of the stalk as stalk-like structure, that is the funicle, as well as the rest part of the ovule. Now this ovule comprises of two outer layers, or which are known as the integuments, which are not in continuation all throughout the ovule, but they are rather discontinuous as a particular place which is known as the micropyle. So the outer thick coating is known as the outer integument, and the inner thick coating is known as the inner integument. Means there are two integuments, that is the outer integument and the inner integument, that encloses the whole of the ovule, only leaving only at a certain place which is known as the micropyle. So Micropyle is that place where the integuments are not found. This place is devoid of any type of the integumental structures. So these integument, they encloses a particular region which is known as the nucellus. This nucellus is very much supplied with a large source or abundant source of nutrient rich cells. These this nucellus, it encloses the embryo sac, which is derived from the megasporangium or the megaspore. So the other end, which is opposite to the micropylar end, is known as the chalazal end. Both these create a sort of polarity, that is the micropylar end or the micropylar pole, as well as the chalazal end or the chalazal pole, and these are having a significant role in the act of fertilization. So now in the next video we are going to talk about the megasporogenesis. Thank you.